Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our flight into the deep of this amazing language. Yesterday, we talked about 如影随形. It's as if it's shadow following the shape. So it's our way to say it's inseparable, just like the shadow will always be next to the shape. It's not going to be detached. It's almost attached to the shape. And we have 形同虚设 today. So 形 is the same, it's a shape, come from this pattern of three diagonal lines. That means a certain pattern or decoration in nature or artificially made. And then 形, the left, come from this two farming or weaponry tools commonly seen and used back then. So that's common day-to-day objects. And that's kind of pattern you can recognize over there. And that's our way to say it's the shape, the concrete shape. And we do have another, like a xiang, another shape-ish thing, but that xiang is more like an aerial. It's up on the sky, like you cannot get hold of. It's more abstract, more elusive. That's our xiang, versus xing is relatively more tangible, and you can see the shape. It's a solid shape like that. It's not going to deform or transform that easily. So you can kind of regard it as something stably shaped. So that's our shape. 同, okay, we have this arch, means a space under one roof. This time without a chimney. That means it's probably a public space or like office. It's not your domestic chimney-less space. And then we have horizontal line. That's, we use it as a number one or as a sky. And then we have this mouth symbol with up tilted corners, and that means our mouth. So under one dome, under one space, there's only one voice. That's the kind of like uniformly people are talking, voicing the same voice, basically. I mean, in a way, it's good, but in other sense, it's a bad thing. But that's our way to express something is exactly like the same copy as others because it's the same. There's only one idea. And 虚, okay, it looks a little bit complicated, but mostly it's just two portions. One is this top portion, including this elongated, like a dome forming thing, but that's like a language formation of having one character actually wrapping around another character as well. I mean, that to me, it's more visually advanced instead of like this, like a left and right structure. Like this, like something wrapping inside is even more intriguing. So this is this one instance of wrapping. The top portion of that draping over, the bottom shape, kind of a symmetrical shape, that is our tiger, our visual representation of the tiger. So I guess there are some tiger tails involved or claws involved, and definitely this tiger jaw lines involved, or the tiger stripes patterns involved. So it's a little bit abstract, hard to see now, but that comes from the abstraction of the shape or the main features of tiger. So tiger sitting on top of this. This is pronounced as chu, and in contemporary Chinese, it's kind of simplified even further to that. So this chu means a bigger hill, like a bigger pile of hill. So we have this bottom horizontal line. That means the ground. That's the ground level. And then we have this two arches sitting on top. Okay, this two arch, it's a mirror image, right? It's symmetrical like this. That's our symbol for north. So I haven't checked up on that yet. So I'm not going to explain to you, not misinformation as much as possible. So that's our north symbol. This whole thing looks except the bottom horizontal line. So the theory goes like, Chinese cares a lot about your living space, the direction of your living space. especially. So the positioning of your living space in relevance to the mountains, and in relevance to the sun. There is a whole theory about how to place yourself. So basically, the living quarters of community, of villages, gotta be south to the sun. So, I mean, China is in northern hemisphere. So the sun is going to beat down that land from equator, right? From mostly toward the south direction. So to have the living quarters under the sun, like touchable by the sun, reachable by the sun, most often that living quarters are placed to the south side of the mountain as reasonable, right? Because if in the northern part of the mountain or north to the mountain will block out the sun, and the living quarters most of the year are going to be in the shadow. And in shadow, probably that's not healthy living environment. I mean, somebody must have done A/B testing and figured out a long time ago, like don't live north to the mountain. So this north symbol is placed on top of the south. I mean, this horizon, ground level symbol, that together, that means a big hill, because this hill symbol was embedded to this living condition, right? So the northern part of the hill, that means, I guess, a big hill. So a tiger sitting wrapped around a big hill, how come that becomes a fake? I don't know. There may be some ancient folklores that I haven't found out yet. But tiger was regarded in Chinese culture as the king of the animal kingdom, right? So it's a fearful animal. And if that animal is sitting on top of hill, most likely you don't want to go anywhere close to that place, right? So, but a lot of times it could be a strategy from whoever you're battling with. It could be a false information over there, and so that could be like, if some stories like that is as if a tiger sitting on top of a hill, it's all illusion, it's all like fake information. So you don't have to be intimidated by something, you know, so constructed or told you like that. So I don't exactly know the background story. The tiger sometimes used in Chinese culture as something as fear, but it's something defeatable as well. We have tiger warriors, like warriors specialize in beating down the tigers. And we have paper tigers, right? That's like something looks fearful, but you can poke it through. So I guess tiger in our cultural significance is it has something related to power, but the illusion of power as well. By the way, this year is Tiger's year in 2022. Okay, and sure, okay, we have the speaking symbol on the left side, now made up of this up-tilted mouth, just like this, right? This and this looking the same thing, right? And then we have this crossing, meaning target your attention to close to the mouth, but it's not exactly pointing to the mouth, because it's kind of connecting this tip of tongue with the mouth, and this targeting is kind of placed in between them. So I guess it's symbolizing the thing is symbolizing the tongue, because it's invisible outside for the most part, right? How to create tongue, right? If you're a language creator, how are you going to create an image of the tongue? So the mouth first, move your attention to the mouth, and then the tip of tongue, and that's the tongue. Okay, and then we have two horizontal lines stacking up, one longer than the other. That's our sound bites. So sound bites from the mouth and the tongue, that's our speaking. So it pronounced as yan, we often see that in the language. So speaking function, as well as this three-hand symbol over here, three-hand symbol, and it's kind of a kneeling figure here. So we can regard it as a sort of a device used back then to do something, like a weaponry, some scholars say, or you can regard it as a nude person. So if it's a nude person, it's like with hand, you can control that person to do something for you, or just by speaking, that person is going to follow instruction to do something for you. So eventually this character used to mean you're going to spatially plan and configure your space in a certain way. And further, eventually in contemporary, this means planning. So spatially planning, it can be then used as any kind of planning. And then if it's 形同虚设, 形 is our shape, right? Shape, the same as 同, it's like equal sign. You can just regard it as equal sign. 虚设 it's fake, it's not real. And 设 is like set up as, configured as. So something, there is the shape, but it's the same as it's a fake setup. Because I use this picture to show, okay, that's a setup probably for, I don't know, audio recording or a sort of social media recording background, right? And then if this is not, so this is the setup there, right? And if it's not plugged into the device, or there are no specialist operating the the camera, recording the whole thing, or there's nobody sitting in that chair to talk about things, it's like 形同虚设. It's like you have everything set up, but you don't really use it. So it only have the shape. It doesn't really have the function. Like it's not used for something. So that's our way to say, okay, you seems like have it, but you don't really use it. So it's ineffective. It's not in use. So basically, 形同虚设. I wish I can give you more examples of 形同虚设. I don't know. I don't want to incur any controversy here unnecessarily, but now I don't have anything 形同虚设coming to my mind. Maybe some policy that is unenforceable, but it has there on the paper released, but people don't follow it. We can use that as that policy as 形同虚设. It's like it's there, but nobody really obey. All right, cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.